And I know the 3,000 people in the Hammerstein ballroom think I'm good, but like, that's the big time.
Yes.
Like, what's Mark Henry going to think? What's Kane going to think? What's Jim Ross, who's seen everything ever? What's he going to think? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was, I think, one of the most validating things. I felt after my tryout, I felt like I could have retired right then because of the validation I got when they were like, it's a unanimous yes.
Gotcha.
I was like, wow, these guys who have seen everything looked at me and they said, that guy's good, we should hire him. And that was like, even if it never happens, that's enough. That was that validation, you know?
So was there a coach or mentor that you gravitated towards or resonated with or maybe would help polish you up?
Well, there's a couple of guys who definitely helped get me higher when I did that tryout, and I'd say Regal is definitely one of them. He put the word in for me. Joey Mercury, I know, put the word in for me. I saw them as early mentors when I first got to WWE. But I don't know, I guess Hunter, which was, I thought, really unlikely because, again, I had my vision of Hunter, what he would think of the business. So when Hunter liked me, I was like, oh, man, I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, it's almost like, would he like an indie guy?
Right,
You
right.
know,
You
that
hear
mentality.
these things, right? I don't know the guy.
Okay, so you've been on 10, 11 years under a hood. Now you're out of the hood. You start working matches.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about that with respect to confidence, and how does Sami Zayn get born?
So I felt a little naked out there for sure the first few times. Felt very weird. And the first match or two, I did a couple of matches where I didn't even have the Sami Zayn name, and they just had me wrestle under my real name. And that was so weird to hear them announce that. Yeah. And my real name is Rami, which is pretty close to Sami. And so I remember taking the heat in a tag match, and they're going, Rami, Rami. And I look over, and Chris Hero is my tag partner, Cassius Ohno. I was just like, Rami chant, what the hell is that? It was so strange. It felt really, really weird. But then, you just kind of grow into it. And like you said, facial expressions were kind of new to me. But they, I don't know how they were, but people around me were telling me, you have really great facials. It's weird that you were covered under the hood. And I started wondering, I think I might have been doing that under the face.
That's what I was getting at earlier. I think you're trying to overcompensate. And I think that's why they're so visual and vital to what you do now. Well, I'm going to take it to a promo in a little bit. And
Yeah. But there's a thing, though, because my facials in NXT, especially when I was a babyface, I really tried hard to kind of like root my selling in reality.
Of course.
Which is kind of the opposite of how I was selling under the hood, which is very animated and stuff like that. And now that I'm a heel, the type of heel I am, I've kind of regressed to that.
Agreed.
Which is what, again, this is just me. That's the kind of heel I like watching.
Agreed,
you know what I'm saying?
But you and the thing to me that just the heel type sell that you're using, and you're always in the right place at the right time in the right position. It's uncanny, but I just think that speaks to just the mechanical part of what you do, and then you throw in the character part of where you're at right now, and we're going to keep getting towards that.
Thanks.
But by the time you get to NXT now, NXT is really a scene. We've talked about the scenes.
Well, not yet. It's not.
Well, it's on its way to becoming a thing, though. So
it becomes a thing when I'm there.
Okay.
When I get there, it's not a thing.
Okay.
In fact, it's the environment is so stifling that it can't be a thing.
How come it was stifling?
It was the leadership that it was under, and I don't want to disparage anybody here, but like, it was, I think, people enacting a vision that they thought they were supposed to be enacting, but I don't think it was totally accurate, especially because Hunter was the guy. And Hunter had a different vision that I don't know if it was like, I don't know how the communication was. Bill DeMott was the head coach at the time. Terry Taylor was one of the coaches at the time who actually I butted heads with very badly at first, but now he's another one of he's like my wrestling dad. He's one of my mentors. But so when I got there, it was very rigid and it was very much in a box, and this is how you work, and there's the hard cam, and this is this, and this. It was so rigid. And there was no room for experimentation. And I remember one of my first matches there, it was some 6-man, and maybe I was doing a comeback. And I think it was against the Wyatts, and maybe the Wyatt family was going up, but I had the Hawk tag, and I think I wanted to do a crossbody. But I did this crossbody where I start out sitting on the second, and I jump up to the third and hit it. And Terry Taylor he's like, no, you run straight through, and like, what are you trying to get yourself? It was a whole thing to just put in like a near fall. Yeah. So it was not conducive to that. So the ace that really should get a lot of credit here is Cesaro. because Cesaro comes to NXT and there's just like me talking to you right now. I could say stuff to you in this interview that I might not be able to say in a different interview because you're Steve Austin and there's a certain amount of clout that you have and freedom to talk to someone like that where you don't feel restricted. So because Cesaro was a main roster guy, we could push that envelope a little bit.
Yeah.
And he happens to be one of my all-time best opponents.
Yeah.
So we started busting out stuff that just you did not see in developmental.
Right.
And I'm telling you, like, there's this 2 out of 3 falls match, and that was the exact moment that NXT became a thing. So if you watch NXT before that match and you watch it after, it's 2 different things. That was the match I kicked open the door and said, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And now everybody's head turns like, oh my God, we can do stuff like that?
Yeah.
And it just opened the door for it to become a scene.
That's awesome.
But when I first got there, and you can ask other people, this isn't just me tooting my own horn. You could ask people how FCW, the end of FCW and early NXT was versus after the fact, when it became something.
So you got to feel some satisfaction.
For sure. I'm very proud of that.
And it did turn into a big thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for a little bit, that show was a lot better. It was better than the other show.
I thought so.
Well, yeah, a lot of people did.
A lot of people did.
It just felt, hey, I hate to use it, organic.
Yeah.
It was what it was.
There's a lot to say about that.
Yeah.
Because there was, I was just I ran into Bailey at the PC the other day. She's recovering and all that, right? And, we were talking about our time because we're in the PC. And we're like, remember when we were in the PC?
Young Grizzle best story.
Right. We started doing a little bit of that. But the thing we were talking about is like these people, like not just the current NXT 2.0, but even the NXT that came right after us with the Tommasos and Garganos, it couldn't ever be quite the same as what we kind of dubbed the golden age of NXT, those early times, because we were creating NXT then. And when the rest of those people come in, it's already created.
Gotcha.
So there's a very special thing, and you kind of see it in, again, you go back to ROH, PWG, those scenes that we're building, or ECW before us, where it's like, hey, we're building something special here.
Right.
We're doing it together. We're part of something special. I got goosebumps.
There you go.
Right? Like
goosebumps, kid.
We're creating something, and you don't. That's special.
Right.
And that translates on TV when the performers clearly believe in what they're doing.
Right.
They believe what they're doing is special.
Okay, so there's a lot of great in-ring action going on with all the matches, with the talent, with the show. It was wrestling, but for you yourself, maybe not a whole lot of emphasis on promos. I want to take you to some footage of a promo class from down there in Florida.
Oh my God!
Well, Cassius Ohno. First, let me say first and foremost that I'm honored that you would select me. You would target.